Hi YouTube, this is the Peaceful Prepper. Today I'm going to be doing an EDC video, part of what I think is the new tagline for my channel, which is Prepping in the Single Girl. I'm not sure I'm going to stick with that, but for right now I'm going with that. And it does seem that EDC videos are kind of mandatory for any prepping channel, and I know myself, I don't exactly understand why I have so much enjoyment out of watching EDC after EDC, sometimes just watching the same items or very similar items, but I do, so this is my contribution to that. So this is, again, everything I'm talking about is an urban EDC because, again, I live in a city. And my EDC, I think about, let me see if this can get in frame, in terms of 4 tiers. And one of the things, the purpose of my EDC is to provide for situations which I am most likely to encounter in my day-to-day life, including some items which could be helpful in an emergency. So this is not a get-home bag, this is not a bug-out bag, this is not an emergency bag of any kind, but I do want some items that have multifunctions and could be used in an emergency of some kind. I'm also really influenced by the fact that as a personal preference, I don't really like to carry a lot. So it's an ongoing balance between my preference of carrying as little as possible and my desire to be prepared and to have the items that I need. Certainly, if I can get away with not carrying a bag at all, I do. And I'm likely to take the smallest bag I can when I need a bag. So here the way that I think about my EDC is these 4 tiers. The first one are the core items. Let me just switch. I haven't done this before, and since I'm going upside down, I can't actually read it. So the core items are the things that I use every day. If I don't have a bag, they're likely to be on my person, in a pocket, in a jacket. And tier 2 also is likely to be on my person, but it's a more complex bag. It's what I call my gee, I wish I had pouch. And it really is full of items that over the years I've thought, I don't know whether I actually say gee, but in my head there have been times when I thought, gee, I wish I had a tape measure, I wish I had some scissors, those kinds of things that I'll go over in more detail. Tier 3 are items that I carry when I have a purse or a bag of some kind. And tier 4 are other kits that I carry depending on the need. There might be an office kit. If I'm trying to dress up more, there may be a kit that helps me do that. They don't tend to be emergency related, but I will go over each tier in turn. So first, let's take a look at tier 1. And these will look very typical items. I have a wallet, a phone. Once again, sorry, I need to... Sunglasses. That was hard to read backwards. Lip balm, a handkerchief, house keys, and car keys. And let me show you those items. So the wallet first. It's just a regular wallet. Again, because I don't like having a lot of things. I'm not like some women who has a huge wallet. I really like a small wallet. It has I'm in a city, so subway pass is the most accessible thing. For the most part, it's very straightforward, but if I open it, has cash. I have where I would have the picture ID, I have a piece of paper with ICE written on it. ICE stands for in case of emergency, and I've done a video talking about that, but that has emergency contacts, whether I have any allergies, and I have it wrapped around my insurance card. So if I got into an accident, if I was... paramedics, police had to take care of me when I wasn't able to respond. If they opened my wallet, this is one of the first things they'd see. The other thing that I have in my wallet, which I think is a good idea. This is the PackSafe RFID credit card holder. It's just a very small thing that I've added to my wallet. I have a certain, well, one of the things I'm concerned about is identity theft, people being able to take your digital information, and now with credit cards and driver's license having those little chips that can be read, this gives them some protection. So if someone walked up with an RFID reader, they're not going to be able to read my information just by walking by. And these are just pieces of paper that I've put in here so you can see it, but it has 2 credit card slots, and on the other side a place for a picture ID or another credit card. And that I've found very useful. It had good reviews. I don't have an RFID reader myself, but read some reviews where other people tested it. And if you're interested, I think I got this at Amazon, and again, it's the PackSafe, I think you can see PackSafe RFID safe. So that's my wallet. My phone, very standard. I'm actually using my phone to film this, so this is an old iPod to stand in for my phone. And I just have a little case that came off a cheap backpack that I had that just gives it a little extra protection. I have a video on emergency-related apps for my iPhone that I will make a link to. I probably will put it below. I thought I'd figured out how to put the links on the actual video and being able to say little things, and I thought it was all set, and then when I looked at one of the videos, none of them had shown up. So while I'm still figuring that out, I'll put a link below for the videos that I've mentioned. That's my phone. Then I just have a pair of sunglasses, like most people. Right now it's June, I think it was 90 degrees today, so this is what I would be taking, but at different times of year I would add a wool hat, would be part of my EDC, or a scarf. This is, I actually don't know what this is called. It's one of those scarves that's just a big loop that you can use as a scarf, you can use it as a headband. I have long hair right now, so it's nice to have something to tie my hair back. You can use it as a balaclava, not a baklava, which is a delicious dessert and I always think of, but a balaclava that you can pull up over your face for warmth. This is a nice light one. I believe they also come in wool that are heavier. But part of my EDC right now, I've just called it sunglasses, would be weather appropriate gloves, scarf. I probably carry a hat, wool or otherwise, maybe 8 months of the year, because it's such a small thing that you can have in a jacket pocket and make such a big difference in keeping you warm if the weather drops, if the temperature drops. So my sunglasses. I always in my pockets carry a handkerchief and a lip balm, usually with SPF if I can. There it is. Then my keys. I have my house keys that I have on a loop that makes it easy to put it on my belt. So I keep them hanging into my pocket, but because they're on my belt, they don't drop to the bottom and aren't quite as obtrusive. And I have my keys. I also have a little thumb light. It's not a lot. I have a whistle. Let's see if I can do this so you can see better. I have a little capsule, and this has 24 hours of my prescription medication. So that's always with me and comes in quite handy. I'm not a morning person, and when I'm running out the door, I have a couple of times forgotten to take my prescription. So as soon as I realize that, I can take the prescription rather than having to wait till I get home, which is really too late. I also have this little Kingston USB drive. Right now, ultimately, I'd really like to use this as a backup to a lot of my critical information, so it would be on my person if for some reason I was prevented from coming home and I'd have it. I am still in the process of looking into security around that, how good the encryption programs are, what I'm comfortable with, but the USB drive comes in really handy just to transfer files back and forth and do various things. Especially, it seems, the last few years now that so much is done with Bluetooth or wireless. A lot of people I know no longer have these, even in a work context, and they really do still come in handy. So I often find that I'm the person who can do that if we're having Wi-Fi problems. So these are my house keys. I also have my car keys, which I've put in my tier 1 for simplicity, but I live in a city and I don't drive every day. I take public transportation much more often, and it might even be that I wouldn't drive for a week or more. But whenever I drive, obviously I have my car keys and I have a few things with it. So I have my car keys. Car keys now. This is the car that I bought a few years ago. Is the first one that had electronic doors. I had an old car. It was about 13, 14 years old until a few years ago. And they nicely have a little panic alarm now, which obviously has good use if you're near your car and need to draw attention to yourself. I also, I'm in the Northeast and I'm now getting indulgent with myself, and I have one of those remote starts, which was great when I had to commute an hour away in the winter mornings and leave at 6 a.m. often before dark to have the car a little bit warm when I made it downstairs. Then I just have a grocery card, another card, a key to a house that is not my house. I really strongly prefer having my house keys and my car keys separate. One, because I don't use my car keys all the time, and I do use my house keys all the time. But if someone got a hold of my car, obviously your address is in there on your registration. I really like not having my house keys connected to my car where they could find out where I lived. What that is. This is a key to someone else's house. I have one of those Rescue Me, which are really great little keychain things. If you haven't seen them, there are lots of reviews on them. It has a glass breaker, and if you pull this off, it's got a little knife that will cut through a seatbelt. So if you need to get out of the car quickly. And then I have another capsule, which just has a $20 bill rolled up in it as backup. And that is my Tier 1 EDC. I'll be back with my Tier 2.